Look at that, we're
So
live.
I said, you can stay, but the Ferengi and the gorilla costume has to go.
Exactly. So, hi everybody.
I agree with you, Mr. Misanthropic. I too hate people.
Hello, Mister. Oh no, I got this. I've actually got the damn Discord pulled up for once.
Oh,
there you go.
I gotta put this thing in the Discord chat.
Mr. Group Chat.
Right, there you go.
It's already there.
Oh, thank you. M&M's, I need to ask you a favor, so you better get on here real soon. And for once, it's not relationship advice.
You don't go to him for relationship advice, do you?
All the time.
Yeah.
Huh?
Not really.
You're in sad shape, yeah.
Hey, Phantom.
You're in sad shape.
I'm definitely in the same shape.
Oh, where's that stupid picture I just downloaded?
He got internet mod cancel.
Yeah.
He's also the one that internet mod does as well.
Yeah, there we go.
Just gonna put that in the middle of this.
All right. So, anyways, this is what.
This is why I wash my hands of the internet when I'm off work.
Well,
actually, should I say this is why I'm a self-imposed boomer.
What? He popped up for a second.
Yeah, right. You said boomer. It's like, there we go. Look at that. We've got M&Ms. I need you.
What is it?
Hello, Phantom.
All right.
Also,
can you guys actually hear me?
I
hello,
can barely
Crimson
hear you.
What?
I can barely hear you, but I need your help.
What is it?
I need a crash course in playing D&D.
Okay, what do you need?
To learn how to play D&D.
Okay. How much time do I have?
You have a little bit of time. Like, I don't need to know right now. But see,
sometime before midnight would be nice.
Well, no, see, I used to be in this gamer group for like real-time strategy games and RPG online games like StarCraft and like World of Warcraft and World of Tanks and like League of Legends and all those. And I used to be super awesome at it. So like I was a gamer girl, but Canadian, not British. Anyways, I haven't talked to them in like 7 years. But then suddenly, poof, they invited me to their Discord, and I found out that my old gamer group is alive and well. And then they went, wait, you're blind and you can't play with this anymore? And then one of them went, wait a minute, there's something you could play. And I'm like, what? And they're like, D&D. And I went, fuck, I don't want to be a noob. I don't want to be a noob because I used to be super awesome at gaming. And if all my gamer fans know like that I'm a noob, that it's going to suck. So I got to like learn how to play D&D and just fake it until I make it so they'll never know that I'm a normie.
Hello,
she doesn't
Bob.
know difference. She doesn't know an analogy from a beholder.
Didn't you also say they were going to show up to your YouTube stream?
Well, they might. They just told me to put it in their Discord, and they might check it out. I don't know if they will or not, but they're probably not.
They're lurking in there already now, don't they?
They don't already know because they're probably not here yet. Hi, Bob. Because if they were here, they totally would have said hi already. So we're perfectly fine. And they don't know that my name is Blind Girl because in their Discord, I am WA Kendo Stick.
Kendall Stick?
Kendo Stick, because when I used to work at Tim Hortons, they'd put the coffee boxes way super up high. So I used to take a broomstick and stab it in the side and pull it down on the floor. And my name is Kendra. So they used to call me the Kendo Stick. So then that was just my nickname for like ever. My internet handle was like Kendo Stick. It was super cool. And now that I got a blind stick, it totally works.
So Phantom, you want to do nothing but talk about D&D tomorrow? That'd be fun.
On the stream, on your stream, yeah. Oh, I'll totally tune in for that, by the way. Well, if I'm awake, but yeah, but seriously, D&D. Oh my god, don't know how to play. Need to learn like a pro really soon, so I don't give away that I don't know how to play.
Do you know what a Tarrasque is?
No.
Or apparently more, it's the Tarrasque because apparently there's only one of them, and you can't kill it.
I don't know what it is, but I'm sure it will be awesome.
Well, the good news is that there's a player. I don't even know where to start. So, good news is there is a player player handbook is available online. I will find
I learn better with people.
Okay. Let me see if I can pull it up because I cannot pull it up right now because I'm currently driving home from work. So once I get home, I will pull it up and I'll pull it up, send the link to you, and since the family's over, if I don't finish my obligatory social time with them, by the time the stream ends, I will be back in after the show to help teach you.
Thank you. You're the best, M&Ms.
I know.
So today I
No, I think
finished.
it's say when you should. No, I think you should say when your boyfriend's on the stream, but you know.
He is the best right now. That you know what? Am I not allowed to compliment other dudes in your presence? Is that it? Are you just a little jelly, Scotty? Do you just get a little jelly sometimes? You need some extra love.
That's streamers.com for that's opinionated Scotsman. How much love on you?
That shit works both ways, don't it, Scotty?
I don't get jelly though.
Uh-huh.
I don't.
Yeah.
I'm not the jealous type.
I hear you. That's all I do too.
Well,
I believe it when I see it.
I'm totally not the jealous type. I really don't care. Scotty can compliment whatever chick he wants to.
Hello, Sockbat.
Hey, Brown, what's up? It takes place in the same universe as the Forgotten Realms books, so you should at least have a rough idea of what the races and creatures are. Woo!
I tried to tell her that.
Yeah, I gotta reach back to a while ago when I would read them all. It's been a while. I'm gonna have to reread some of them to kind of like refamiliar myself with it. Like, I mean, I think I know most of the classes, but I'm gonna have to do a refresher course because I haven't RPG'd in forever.
Dragonborn Barbarian, Master Race, and Master Class.
Yeah, and I used to online RP on Held Chats and stuff. I don't know if you remember those. Okay, apparently not. But I used to do that too.
Hey, trucker.
Yo.
3 minutes. That's all I give
Nice.
her. 3 minutes.
Secret. I have a nerdy side, but it's nobody should know. I just yeah. I got a secret nerd side every once in a while.
So the big question.
Anymore, can you just set it live on air?
So the big question is, if she learns how to play D&D, how long is it going to take you to get the taste for Funyuns and Mountain Dew?
I love Funyuns.
Okay, first of all, Hot Pockets and Dr. Pepper, but not too long.
If I had the dinger, if I had a mobile dinger, I would ding for that because that is absolutely right.
That is such a stereotype.
Only thing you're missing is, at least with my games, we also have a bottle of Jack Daniels that we pass around, so the games get way out of hand way quickly.
Crap.
Yeah, but also you got to remember the Led Zeppelin and Blacklight.
See, whenever I was nerding out, it would be Hot Pockets, Dr. Pepper, and once in a while Crown and Coke, but that's because of my Gramps. But I'm not allowed to Crown and Coke anymore, so just Dr. Pepper and Hot Pockets.
Shouldn't have Dr. Pepper with 39 grams of sugar in it.
I got insulin for that, Holmes.
Hey, it's called abuse.
No, it's called technology and insulin, dude. I'm not a type 2 diabetic. I'm a type 1, which means it doesn't matter how much sugar is in something as long as I match it with the proper amount of insulin.
You won't believe in that shit.
Dude, seriously, now you just talking out of your ass.
Hey, I was an EMT for 16 years. I seen what happens to diabetics.
If they don't look after themselves, but if you match
Even
the
if they
proper amount
did.
of insulin, yeah, exactly. Even if they did. In other words, it wasn't their fault. It's not about the amount of sugar that you eat. Truckers should actually know this.
I'm staying out of this.
Oh, dude, really? Come on. Team diabetic here. What the hell? Don't leave me hanging.
Yeah, but when you constantly abuse yourself, at some point it starts wearing on the body, regardless of what
Yeah,
you do.
but I don't constantly abuse myself. I'm actually really good at matching insulin to carbs.
Okay.
I mean, to be fair, she's had more sugar lows than sugar highs recently. So, yeah.
One's just as bad as the other.
And yet, you're saying watch the sugar count and stuff when he's saying I've had sugar lows. So, I guess I'm not
you
thinking
can't,
too much sugar.
because you counter it with insulin, don't
Well,
you?
yeah.
Okay,
Duh,
then
I counter it
one
with insulin.
up and down is not good either.
Yeah, but the ups and downs aren't from my carb intake.
Oh, okay.
Like, type 1s don't even have a diabetic diet. Type 1 diabetics can live just like everybody else as long as you match the amount of carbs that goes in with the proper amount of insulin.
Argument's over. I can see I ain't gonna win.
No,
Yeah.
you're not, because I have lived with this for 20 years. So EMT or not, I still have more experience than you do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think by now, Crappy, you should learn that there's no winning an argument against the wound.
I
think by now you should know there's no winning an argument against the wound.
I know. You got to pick your battles. All I can say is one day she's gonna say, "Yeah, I let my sugar get too low," and I'm gonna say, "Told you so."
It's not about letting your sugar get too low. It's not about letting that happen. Sometimes external factors happen. You do a little too much exercise, you have a cold or a flu that throws it off, and like sometimes there's other factors in what you eat and what insulin you give yourself. Sometimes it has to do with if you're sick, if you've got an infection, if you did a little bit extra exercise that day. Like, honestly, it all depends on various other things other than, oh no, they drank a Dr. Pepper. Because guess what? The normal food that you eat, like a banana or a piece of bread or even some meats, have sugar in it too. Matter of fact, a can of Pepsi has almost the same amount of sugar as a banana.
Bananas are radioactive. Meh.
Yeah, they are actually, yeah.
So you can't rip on me for drinking a Dr. Pepper when a banana has just as much sugar as a can of Coke. Or buns on a hamburger.
I think Sockbat is jumping in the argument here.
Of course he is.
I like
my
what
brother,
Sockbat
and
said.
you've heard my dad dog me about this for years. Thanks, bro.
See, I'm staying out of it because I remember when you jumped my shit when I tried to bring up the caffeine.
Well, yeah, because it gets really tiring hearing people going, you shouldn't eat that. That is too much sugar. You're killing yourself. You're abusing yourself just by what we eat. When honestly, there's sugar in everything that you eat. It's really irritating when people do that. It's like my number one button pet peeve right there, because Dad used to be like, you're going to die, because you're not eating right. You're going to die, because you're not eating the right things. Like, you're going to die, and what people don't understand is, again, it's not the amount of sugar that you're eating. It's whether or not you can balance it out with insulin, just like everybody else. I mean, normal people eat high amounts of sugar, and the insulin is just naturally in there. The only difference between a type 1 diabetic and a regular person is the difference between a standard and an automatic car. One of them automatically shifts gears, and the other one you have to manually do it. The misconception of type 1 diabetes is the most irritating thing on the planet, because everybody thinks that type 1s are type 2s.
Wait, can a player character be a beholder? That'd be awesome.
Well, hey, I
And
gotta
seriously,
I gotta
I've heard
I gotta
this
roll out,
for
fellas. I'll talk
20
to you guys
years.
later.
Bye, M&Ms.
Nice skills.
Wish me luck.
Good luck, skills.
20 years. Anyways, I did want to. I wasn't taking a side. Well, then you know what? I'm gonna unthank you, bro. You know, you should be taking my side. You're my brother. What the hell is this? And why did
Sides
you
are
have
a
to
pain in
point
the
out that
ass.
you weren't taking a side? What the hell is that? You know, you're probably laughing there too. And it's just, you know what? Bros before crappy slayers. Or sis before crappy. Yeah.
Blind girl's a guy.
Play D&D,
Bros?
but if we're just talking races from that
You better not be
universe,
a guy.
probably dark elves. Exactly, because Drow are freaking awesome.
Yeah, Blind girl better not be a guy.
You never know. I have big balls. So, anyways, I thought we should talk about genetically modified foods and overpopulation because I thought that was an interesting topic. And because I'm 3/4 of the way through Enlightenment now, and it gave me the idea to talk about it. And I also thought it was really funny how they were saying you have to label everything, every food that has DNA in it, even though every food has DNA in it. What they really wanted to say was any DNA that has been meddled with by people. But instead, they just went, all DNA foods must be labeled.
Technically, all food has been meddled with by people. It's
Well,
just
Considering corn, corn is actually a Mexican grass.
Well, yeah. And I mean, it's not even necessarily a bad thing. I feel like making sure that a bunch of people don't starve from famine is like, you know, not being completely natural is a small price to pay. I butchered that quote, and my brother's probably going to catch it. But just saying. Talk about replica. Warning, may contain DNA. Exactly, but all food contains DNA. Like, did you know that people share DNA to bananas?
People also share DNA to corn, and people share DNA. You know.
There's a few genes that do the same thing in every living critter. So, yeah.
Considering there are 23 bands of DNA, and there's only so many possibilities. There's going to be combinations here and there, similarities.
Exactly. And so, like, I wonder why people, like, what I find very interesting about the genetically modified versus the completely natural is we've learned how to farm more eco-friendly. We've also learned how to farm using smaller spaces and not totally leaving the earth without any kind of nourishment and, like, all dried out and, like, fucked up and shit. So what's funny is all the people that are like natural food only, they're actually doing more damage to the environment and to the farmland than people that have learned how to do agriculture properly. So I thought that was interesting.
There's also a detriment to it.
Is there? What is it?
Take a GMO apple, okay? Just an apple, right? Actually, we'll put it this way. Ball up your fist. Imagine the size of your fist, right?
I will try to imagine the size.
Well, feel your fist with your other hand. I mean, take like a small, take a Washington apple. Okay, you know the size those things are.
Yep.
Now you take an apple from Virginia, which is a third of the size. You know, a third to a half the size at the biggest. Those two apples had the exact same nutritional values, the same amount of sugars, the same amount of vitamins, the same amount of everything except calories. The Washington apple will actually have more calories in it.
Yeah.
So you actually end up eating, if you eat the non-GMO version, It'll be smaller, yes, but it'll have roughly the same nutritional value to it. So you're not eating a bunch of empty calories. So you actually end up eating less, which makes you lose weight.
They
It's funny.
they
there's
do have corn
conversation-
now that is naturally produces its own pesticides naturally, so it makes it cheaper for the farmer to produce, which will make the food cheaper as a whole.
No, it doesn't. You're talking about the strains of Monsanto corn.
Yeah.
The problem with those is when they sat there and played around with all those corns. What used to happen with farmers was they would actually save 4 or 5 bushels of their corn to plant it the next season that they planted corn. The problem is Monsanto corn will only do that once. It'll only grow once. You can gather corn. You can gather as much corn and plant all of it from your previous season. It will not grow again. It only grows the once.
Okay, that might be
That's
an
what
issue.
that's most of the arguments that a lot of people have about GMOs. It's mainly Monsanto. It's the companies that do it. So.
Oh, are you talking about the companies that sell the only grow once plants to say, places that need it to grow more, like places with lots of famine, like those third world places that buy the seeds and then have to keep buying them because they can't just regrow it?
That's it, but there's the thing you're saying, or you're throwing the whole third world famine or you're throwing the countries that are being that are sitting there watching or seeing famine, and you're throwing that in there and not realizing that these companies are doing this with just the purpose of making money.
Well, I know.
They
That's
don't
what I mean.
care
Like,
about what they're feeding people.
I know. Well, they're selling these seedless plants or seeds that won't grow to third world countries so that they can't replenish their stock. They have to buy the seeds again for profit.
Right.
Which is like fucking terrible.
Yeah, because it fucks over farmers.
Yes, it does.
Yeah, that's well. The thing is, the business practices of companies like Monsanto are horrid.
Oh yeah.
So, they've had there have been times where seeds would blow from one farmer's field into another. Well, they would sue the second farmer for having plants from their seeds on the second farmer's field and win. But the second farmer wouldn't have even known that it was their seeds because he had his own seeds planted.
Well, what's even worse is let's say they're a lot of these genetically modified seeds and plants were modified so that they were resistant to things like drought or like disease or pests and other such things, so they can be more resilient when growing. But I remember the argument being said that if ever there was a big plant plague that wiped out a bunch of crops, we'd be so screwed because we wouldn't be able to regrow a lot of things because they're seedless.
Right.
Well, look at the banana. There was a plague that wiped out bananas, and we don't have that strain of bananas anymore, but we got bananas.
Yeah, because
didn't bananas used to be purple or something?
No, because I think there's one called the Grow Me Shell or something, and they had to
There's pink bananas. I've seen pink bananas, but not purple.
Which is why the banana flavor stuff doesn't taste like the bananas that you get now.
Well,
Yeah.
wild bananas were maybe 3 times the size of your thumb. I mean, I'm not sure about anywhere outside of the U.S. Cuban may have very well seen them. Thunder may have seen them. I know Crappy's seen them. They would sell these. They'd call them baby bananas or mini bananas or something.
Yeah, I've seen
They
them.
look like bananas, but they're a quarter the size of your regular banana.
They're tiny.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen a wild strawberry?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe the size of a dime.
They're so yum, though.
I know.
They're so good.
Yeah, the smaller strawberries do taste better than the bigger genetically modified ones. I will admit, although I think. Oh my God, who's calling me and why? Okay. Can you just carry the stream for a minute?
What song was that?
Why do I hear Samwise Gamgee carry the load?
Well then,
Okay, we're back. And in case you were wondering, that was You're Welcome by Moana. Leave me alone. Just saying. But I think it's interesting that way back when there was a lot of famine and there was a lot of people dying of starvation, that technically GMOs could be good because there's extra calories in a piece of food, which could be good. But now that we have an overabundance of it, it's just making people fat and sick.
Well, fat, yes. I'm not sure about the sick.
Well, sick because you're like people.
Sick because
really
of the
fat
fat.
people get sicknesses. It's not a good thing to be huge.
No, we gotta go potty positive. Fat is good, apparently. And the doctors don't know what they're saying. Just because you're fat doesn't mean you have diabetes.
Hi, Rolling Bear. No, but you put extra
hello,
weight
Rolling
on
Bear.
your joints. You have higher risk for high blood pressure, heart disease, cholesterol. You put a lot of pressure on your lungs if you got big tits because you're fat. Like just lots of problems. Your knees will give out a little faster. Just just fuck body positivity. Let's be real here.
Yeah, body positive is retarded.
Just because you're fat doesn't mean you're a terrible person. It just means that you're more at risk to have sick things. Although it is at least a comfort to know that at least in the Western culture, the poor people are fat. That's a good thing. It means they're not dying in the streets of starvation. So yay!
I will say, chubby is fine. You do have to watch. There's a fine line between chubby and just fat.
When I say fat, I'm thinking about morbidly obese, where you put on a yellow jacket. People say taxi.
You start backing up, it goes beep, beep, beep.
Exactly. Like seriously.
you mean it's been so far they have to use like a fucking mobility scooter when they like shop?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wait. Do you like Owen Benjamin? Who the fuck is Owen Benjamin? Let's see. They are nutritionally starved through fat.
They're nutritionally starved, though, poor fat people. That goes back to what I was talking about with that apple analogy, to where that apple, the big apple, has the same nutritional value as the little one, but the little one has a lot less.
Yeah, but if I had to pick between nutritionally starved and starved in general, I would pick nutritionally starved versus starving and dead. Just saying.
Well, nutritionally starved has its own problems, like skin turning orange. Sometimes if you get too much of a vitamin and not enough others, freaking jaundice.
Yeah, but I mean, come on. How often does that happen?
Fucking ready, Benjamin. Peter, I thought you were in bed.
No, he was arguing with people on Padwick's Discord. You missed all the fun. I too missed all the fun. And you know me, I love the fun. But yeah,
I posted a picture of a smiling crocodile.
There were like famines that wiped out loads and loads of people. Like people would just die and stuff. So like nutritionally starved versus like famine or like no food. Like I feel like nutritionally starved, you can you can actively go fix that in the Western society of places, whereas, maybe like the way it used to be where people just had no food. Like, I would pick nutritionally starved. The things are not one and the same. One is definitely worse than the other, I think.
Yeah, probably. There is a good question.
But I just thought it was interesting because, like, back in high school, people were saying we don't have enough land mass to produce enough food to feed all the people in the world. Whereas now, through a lot of agricultural advancements, we can make more than enough food in 1/4 of the space, which I think is cool. Huh?
We already do. It's just a lot of it gets thrown away.
Well,
yeah.
yeah, but in theory, they were saying that there's not enough land mass to make enough food to feed everybody in the world. Versus now, we can produce even more food and in less space, which I thought was cool because way back when they were saying, we don't have enough food to feed everybody, and then the population almost doubled, and we're taking up less space. That's kind of cool.
And then what happened? And then what happens? Where was that? Cuban, you may have heard about this last year and the year before.
Oh. She's not here anymore.
Damn.
Charlie, laundry. I tried calling.
Oh shit.
I tried calling you. You didn't hear my phone.
Okay, that means I'm definitely going to be gone for a bit.
Bye, Green. Go help your mom.
I want to say it was Washington. Last year and the year before, they actually had such a record-sized crop of cherries that they forced all the farmers to keep the cherries warehoused and rot just to price fix.
Fair enough, I guess. I mean, I don't know. I suppose there's benefits and not benefits to GMOs. I think do you think they've done more harm than good or more good than harm when it comes to making sure people don't go hungry?
Honestly, I think they've done more harm than good, because for one, crop rotation would have solved a lot of problems with farming. When you get the rotations in Virginia, you'll see a lot. The same field, one year there'll be corn, one year there'll be soy, one year there'll be tobacco, one year it'll be barren. That kind of rotation helps the farmers as far as the soil. So as far as the soil goes, it gets the nutrition it needs from the previous season. So that's not that big of a problem. Now pesticides are a problem, or pesticides. When it comes to the plants that could resist pesticides, Roundup Ready plants, that I can go with. As far as they modified a plant to resist its own their own pesticide, which that I can go with. That's fine. Problem is when they started playing beyond that and playing to the point where the plants were producing their own pesticides, and actually got to a point where once these plants started producing their own pesticides, you could not walk amongst the plants without a poison suit. So no matter how much washing, how can that really be safe? Does that make sense?
Well, most of us are still alive.
Yeah, but then malnutrition, diabetes, overweight, or morbid obesity, that's all become absolutely rampant as absolute natural foods have been becoming more and more scarce.
True. Although I would be curious, and actually I'd get Cuban to look this up, the statistics between a lack of food and death versus abundance of food and death, and weigh the statistics to see which produced more dead people.
Well, you just need to look at third world countries for that one.
Well, no, actually, I would look at Western countries because third world countries are still catching up.
Yeah, what I'm saying is a lack of food in third world countries. Compare that to Western countries where there's loads of food.
Well, no, I mean, I would go back to like the 1800s in Western countries and see with not enough food and famine, how many people died, and then take the same country in this day and age to how many people died because of GMOs, because of, obesity and shit. The numbers and see who died, like how many more people died from each things.
Well, you could do
Problem
that in
is,
third world
cases
countries
like
as well, couldn't you?
problem is you can't really point at that because they didn't have the scientific knowledge to be able to figure out what killed this person, what killed that person. I mean, what they could have easily sat there and said, well, this person died from malnutrition by eating, and for all you know is, for all we know, the person probably ate like a horse and had a tapeworm. Or,
well, I think a skeleton dead
they
on
can
the
sit,
side of the road is
they can
probably
look.
pretty obvious.
But what I'm saying is, if you talk back to 1800s, I mean, the medical kind of scientific technology or the whole concept of examining the body and figuring out exactly what the person died from, we can't say.
Well, we could get a good rough estimate.
You can get a rough estimate, but that's all it's going to be is an estimate.
Well, if you still compare the two estimates, you still kind of can figure it out. I mean, let's say people that died from famine is like 10,000, and people that die from obesity and sickness is like 9,500, and that's a close enough number to say, okay, it's just as bad. But if like people that died from famine was like 10,000 and obesity and whatever was like 2,000, there's big enough of a gap that even if the noise numbers of, well, a few of them were wrong, it's still a big enough gap to see that people still died from famine.
See, the irony is there is an easily acknowledgeable number by how many people died in famine. I mean, if you just want to mention famine,
well,
that would be
starvation, famine, drought, starvation as a whole. So you didn't eat enough and you died.
Well, right, and in the 20th century alone, what was that? Roughly 10 million people. But that is just as easily attributable as to political climate, as opposed to that's easily attributable to political climate as opposed to food itself.
Well, yes, but I mean, that's why I would take one solid country like America or Canada or England, not say Venezuela or Cuba or Africa, anywhere in Africa, like
just England or Britain as a whole.
No, I mean England is a country. I'm allowed to talk about England without having to include Scotland, because when I say England, sometimes I really do mean England as a country.
And you won't find any statistics for that, will you? Just like this.
Right now, I mean England as a fucking country. I don't mean Britain. I mean fucking England. Just saying. You got to be included in everything with England. Like, what? Are you guys like besties? Like, is that like your brother or something? Like, everything England do, Scotland has to do too?
No, Scotland, you end up doing it first.
Well, then why do you want to be grouped with them so much if I want to talk about England, not Britain? Like, seriously, anything they do, you totally got to do. You know what? Fine. Scotland. We will check out Scotland's famine and die of starvation rates versus obesity rates. Would that make you feel better, Scotty?
No.
Well, there we go.
If anything, just check out Ireland's famine.
Ah, for fuck's sakes. Most famines in the last century were man-made either through
incompetent government or created deliberately.
Thank you.
He's saying what I said, where it's political in nature as opposed to as opposed to inability.
don't forget to like the stream. Thank you, Pete. I totally forgot to like my own stream. So yeah. Well, I guess then we'll just never know if more people died from lack of food or more people died because all the food made us fat. We'll just never know. We can have theories, but we'll just never know. Unless you got a stat for that, bro. It still likely kills more people than obesity. Also, technically, the data wouldn't have been that great to compare anyways, because back then the lifespan was also shorter regardless. So I feel like living longer, but then having like obesity problems versus living shorter lives, but having all natural food, like it's not really that comparison, or even living shorter lives, but then most people dying from starvation. I feel like I would pick the living to 80, but being fat and unhealthy at the same time, because at least you get to live to 80. I'm okay with this. The bright side.
Would you rather 45 years of living absolutely actively and happily, or 80 years of laying in a hospital bed because you don't have the energy to do anything?
80.
I'd rather have 40 actually.
That's where you and I would extremely differ.
Well, obviously. I mean, even me and my brother differ on that. But most problems with obesity doesn't actually lead you to...
give me a dirty look, asshole. You're the one sitting in the middle of the fucking road.
Anyways, what I was going to say is most cases of obesity don't leave you in a hospital bed for all 80 years of your life just waiting there hoping to die. Like, for example, I am not the healthiest person in the world, but I would still rather live to be 80 in this condition than perfectly super healthy and only to 45. I would be super okay with living as unhealthy as I live to be able to get to 80. I think I would be okay with that. Now, my brother, on the other hand, I believe the quote was at 60, he's going to off himself if he doesn't die naturally already. Does that still stand, by the way? Because that was really dark, dude. It still likely kills more. Oh, okay. Good. You wouldn't be in a hospital bed for the whole 80 years. Well, Anthony has to catch up to what Sockbat has to catch up to what I was just saying. Yay! I'm glad we're having similar thoughts at the moment, because every once in a while we're sort of polar opposites, because he is more of a cynical prick and I'm more of a look on the bright side, people. And I don't know how we've gotten along this long without killing each other. Really, I don't. That was a joke. Oh, good, because that was really dark, dude. I actually believed you when you said it. And so I'm like, oh my God, I have to live past 60 years old just to make sure my brother doesn't hang himself or something, because I swear to God, that would suck. And you know what? My brother is really skinny. So him hanging from a ceiling would just traumatize me for life, even though I'm blind. Just saying. Really skinny guy hanging from the ceiling. Creep me the fuck out.
Blind, all I've managed to find is that obesity kills more people than starvation. That's all I've managed to find so far.
Well, based on what stats and by how much?
I'm looking at just.
Is it just a statement that says obesity kills more people than starvation? Huh?
It says obesity death rates are 3 times more than starvation.
Yeah, but are they talking about starvation in the present year? So, like, for example, in the year 2019,
it says between 1990 and
more people than starvation. So, are they saying starvation in the year 2019 kills less people than obesity? Or are they talking?
It said it was between 1990 and 2010.
1990?
And 2010.
So, the 1990s to 2010.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in the past like 29 years.
Sockbat says the reason he's joking is because his neck definitely wouldn't snap if he hung himself.
God damn it, dude! That is so fucking gross. I am so glad you
Make sure to get your whole head in front of the shotgun.
He doesn't have a gun.
Damn Canadians.
Train?
I think a train still runs through Empire. No, wait, the train doesn't run through Empire anymore. Ha! You can't lay in front of a train.
No, you lay your head on the track.
Yeah, well, there's no train that goes through Empire anymore. So, yeah, you're screwed.
Oh,
You can walk out
I'm
in
sure
front
if you
of
want
a
to kill
bus.
yourself, you'd find a way.
Okay, could you guys not give my brother ideas on how to kill himself when he's 60? Because, like, seriously?
How old is he now?
Why? I'm sure he's already thought it out.
He's, like, gonna be 35 in September.
Yeah, he's got 25 years to work out.
You know what? I
Yep.
hope he lives longer than that, though.
If you want
I
to
kind of like
compare,
my brother, so I'd like him to live as long as possible. That would be really cool.
if you want to see if GMO is helping starvation, compare it in a country from 20 years ago till today.
Well, they just did in that study, technically, but I would have gone back further to say starvation probably killed more people back when we didn't understand agriculture versus now.
Yeah, but you can't find the rates for that because they weren't recorded.
I mean, in the past 20 years, especially in Western civilization, I would expect that obesity kills more people than starvation. However, did they die because they were fat, or did they get old age and die while fat?
Probably
Do they make
both.
that distinction?
You can't
They
really
was
say
eating
for
more.
certain because the problem is you
They was
can't
eating
really
more
say for
naturally.
certain. Yeah.
It's
The,
like a
the
study.
people who die from just being fat. Go ahead, Crappy.
No, go ahead.
What I was going to say is there's still no way to say for 100% certain because the people who died from being fat, it's never going to be listed on their death certificate. This person died from being fat. It'll say this person died from this problem or that problem or this condition or that this incident or that incident. It's always going to say that. It's never going to say they died because they were fat.
Well, not only that, but ew! Stop that! That's fucking gross. That's just fucking. God damn.
What?
Okay, so first of all, my brother says actually a lot of people don't compensate for the kickback and end up accidentally blowing off the front of their face, which that's just fucking gross, dude. And the second thing he said is also this article says obesity kills more people than starvation, with the exception of sub-Saharan Africa.
Okay.
So in other words, is in places where there's not a lot of food or there's famine. So to compare a Western civilization over the past 20 years, it's kind of slightly, well, no shit compared to, say, places where there's not enough food, therefore starvation is the leading cause above obesity.
Okay.
Also, if you think you had problems before you blew the front of your face off, God.
Well, I can imagine blowing the front of your face off caused a whole lot of problems.
Fucking hell.
Your chances for a date go down real fast after that.
He's not looking for one.
Holy fucking people thought I'm morbid. God
Oh, dude,
damn.
no. You don't understand. You and my brother and Scotty would all get along like fucking best friends. Seriously.
Yeah, where the fucking hell is little Megan when you need him? He'd love this stuff.
Don't say his name. He'll appear.
It's a
I love
Tanuki now.
I love my best thought for ever committing suicide is simple. Hey, let's learn skydiving. Okay. Just don't pull the cord.
Sure luck you get one of them automatic ones.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, I know. That would be my luck. The problem is with my problem is if I were to jump out of a damn airplane without pulling the chute, the problem with my friends is you take like some bitch like Crappy Slayer over there, he's going to sit at the bottom and take bets on how many times I'm going to bounce.
You ain't going to hit the ground but once. I just want to see how big the splat is.
Yeah,
My problem is...
You're saying as bad as like depressive people, are you?
Am I going to look like a water...
My
question is, would it be like when you drop a watermelon on the ground and breaks into chunks? Or is it going to be like an egg?
Probably like a water balloon.
Scotty, because they're talking about suicide and your mic is way too low. Turn up your goddamn mic.
I'm saying am I as bad as like fucking suicidal people? Am I?
No, you're just
We're
you
not
and
suicidal.
Sugar
We
and
just
my brother. Sometimes you guys all just are on this. You're on the same wave. You're just on the same wavelength. Just on the same. Just you guys would just be like, just fucking. I would just die if I were in the same room as all three of you. Like that would be a
We
thing.
have had all three of us on a stream before once.
Yeah, but moderation is key.
See, and the thing is, you would just die, and we'd sit there and try to guess how it happens.
Exactly.
all I
That's
know,
freaking terrible.
I don't want to learn skydiving. For the first like 3 or 4 jumps, they strap an asshole to your back.
He's got one strapped to his belly, and he's got a better position. You didn't think about that comment, did you?
Not really.
Okay.
I can hear Blind Girl shaking her head.
Yeah. That's kind of. You know what? I'm hoping that Math Queen just jumps in at some point.
Did you send her the link?
Yeah, she said she was eating and she'll be in soon. And just Math Queen just brightens up the goddamn mood.
She ain't coming in. She's hearing all this shit. She says, I ain't getting in the middle of that.
She would totally do
Yeah, she is kind of too smart to jump in here.
All right. Well, I feel like the GMO thing has come and passed. And so the second bit of entertaining news that I heard about today was apparently a bunch of leftists that probably don't even know how to use a screwdriver anyway are boycotting Home Depot.
Somebody watched the Matt Walsh show.
Yeah, I did. Oh, did you watch it today too?
No.
Oh, well.
I don't watch Daily Wire, but I do see the titles.
Well, yeah, so I thought it was just hilarious. So apparently the former owner, who's like 90 years old now, is like a billionaire and he has a lot of wealth. So he's like, I'm going to donate like 90% of my wealth because I'm 90 years old. And he's going to donate it to charity for like cripples and people with autism and old people and to the veterans. And he's going to give a slice to Donald Trump. And so the left went, boycott the fuck out of this place, even though, again, they probably don't even know how to use a screwdriver. And of course, the big flaw in this is if they boycott a Home Depot, which they probably don't shop at anyways, first of all, it's not really going to do anything because they never shop there anyways. And second of all, the guy kind of is retired. He doesn't own the place anymore. He sold it, whatever. He's like, he already has his wealth. You taking away any financial anything from Home Depot is not going to affect him in the slightest. So that's really stupid.
But who is it going to affect? All those illegals.
Exactly. All those people that are working the cash register, that is who it's going to affect. So technically,
and the ones, don't forget about the ones standing outside that hop into the back of your truck if you need help.
You mean the Mexicans?
That's the ones I was talking about.
Yeah. So all the Mexicans are going to be out of work or something. But I don't really think the boycott's going to make much of a difference because I think the people that go to Home Depot to do a bunch of DIYs are way too busy to be in the world of politics anyways.
Oh, I forgot to work on that today. Shit.
Exactly. So, yeah, the left is totally going to boycott it because they're like, oh, my God, you going to donate to Trump's campaign? What the fuck? And what's actually really funny about that is the co-owner that, sold it to, he donates to Democrats. All the time.
I'm sure.
That's his life.
So, yeah, like that's just dumb.
Knee jerk.
That's just dumb.
Stupid
See what
people are
happens
stupid.
when you follow knee jerk reaction?
Yeah. Math Queen, join the morbid AF. No, do not. Math Queen is too nice for you. Math Queen! I say her name when she appears. Oh my God, it's like magic.
Math Queen. Welcome to the party.
That's a good point. Random family
Come
does
on,
need
Matt.
jobs.
Let's have some
do not
fun.
twist my mask queen. Okay, she is so pure and kind and innocent. Please don't.
How many people think she's
Oh
able to
shit!
train
I seen
along
the stuff
with
she
that?
posts in Discord.
Just
Yeah,
some
she's-
of
Mask
the
Queen is
stuff.
not as pure as you think. I've seen the shit she posts in Discord.
Wait, which one?
The fact that you had to say that was hilarious.
Well, you know what? Sometimes it's just.
See,
I
and you know
get
the sad
angry
part.
where
The
I
sad
have-
part is
What?
the fact that you have to ask which one says so much.
Well, that's the thing. Sometimes I like to troll, so I'm trying to learn how to troll people. So sometimes I'll put some really like spicy memes. I'll be like, "Oh, that's so spicy." I'll laugh at it, and I'm just like, I bet other people
Apparently-
will enjoy this.
The
And
Like
stuff
my
I
brother
post
taking
don't
a
that-
pop
understand.
with the shotgun.
See, you say that, all I hear is excuse, excuse, excuse.
You're right. Those are excuses. I just like to be a troll.
Oh.
Apparently, the stuff I post to
We all
troll
like to be a
people
troll.
and the not safe for work is not much appreciated.
Yeah, that's because it's not safe for eyes, but that's okay because I'm immune. However,
That's why I give you my own. That's why you have your own channel on my Discord now.
however,
Oh, that's no. That's less fun. I'll fill it up.
focus, Green. Can you do it? Can you focus?
Oh, sorry.
In other kind of scary news, Antifa is now arming themselves with guns against Trump crackdown.
I thought they hated guns though.
Now they have
Antifa has actually been arming themselves. Antifa has been arming themselves with guns. That is not a new thing.
Yeah, that's not anything.
Remember that? What was her name? Heather Heyer, the
Yeah.
Charlottesville chick.
Yeah.
His defense was that there were Antifa people pointing rifles at him, and that's why he took off in his car. Now,
Yeah. There was
The thing
a
is, it
video,
was so
I don't remember who was taking it, but someone confronted the Antifa guy that was pointing the rifle. And Antifa guy was like, "Why are you here? How did you follow me? You're not supposed to be filming me. I was there, yeah, and that fascist deserved that." You know, and it was just like he got caught with his hands painted red. Red-handed.
the group
Sorry,
they
go
were
ahead.
talking the group. That's right. I'm just saying the group they were talking about is called Redneck Revolt.
Yeah,
Yes, that one.
I heard about that one, Redneck Revolt. So, this article from July 2nd, for some reason, there's also one called, I think there's one for girls, that's for Antifa as well, called like the Pink Revolver or something, or the Pink, so it's a pink gun, just saying.
No,
So the Vienna State
if you're
Air
saying
Force-
if you're getting ready to invoke pink pistols, no.
Oh, are they not with
That's-
them? Can somebody lump them in?
Pink Pistols, they got lumped in because Pink Pistols is something is a group that I actually support.
They just got lumped in then.
No, yeah, they did because the Pink Pistols is actually, it is a anti-LGBT bullying group that is also pro Second Amendment.
Yeah, fair enough. So,
I actually highly support them.
So liberals are notoriously loath to take their own side in a fight, but they're but they may well be changing in an age of vigilante, white nationalist terror, which is what they're calling it, I guess, openly condemned and supported by incumbent president who has suggested that his armed devotees won't stand for his removal from office. Increasingly, the Antifa left is arguing and training in response. They are worried not only about an armed reckoning following a contested election, but also about rising violence from the paramilitaries loyal to President Donald Trump, which, like, you don't have to be loyal.
Hello.
Hey, good. You don't have to be loyal to Donald Trump to be going against Antifa if they're going to be pointing guns at people. Like, any military that gets called in against Antifa doesn't automatically align them with Donald Trump. It aligns them with, no, you're not going to scare people with guns. Like, why they would make that, you know what, if you're going to stand up to Antifa, you're automatically a Donald Trump supporter. Like, seriously? But I guess they just did that. That's the thing.
It's cold.
I will stand. Here's where I would say publicly. When I am not inside this truck, people, there is a pistol on me, at least one. I am not necessarily a Donald Trump supporter, but I am definitely anti-Antifa.
Yeah, we just lost Crappy and Math Queen.
I know. Everybody keeps just dropping. We lost Cuban. We lost Math Queen. We lost Crappy. We lost M&M's because he's hanging out with his mommy.
Crappy might actually be back at the yard by now.
Oh. So anyways, consider the tense political climate in the Pacific Northwest, where
Wait,
Washington...
Oh, okay, you're back.
Yay!
I am back.
Okay, so yeah, consider the political climate in the Pacific Northwest, where Washington State Representative Matt Shea, a dough-faced Christian Dominus,
Dude, you can suck my gun anytime.
Dominist from somewhere made news last year when his instructions on how to build a holy army that would kill all males who refuse to submit to the biblical law leaked to the press.
What?
I don't know why they're referencing this. Assassination.
I knew it.
Tyrant.
Peter Allman said something really funny. He said, "Heather higher? ? Ain't she Heather 6 foot lower now?"
I wanted to leave that alone, but yes.
I was going to leave that alone. See, this is typical. I mentioned that yes, Goon can suck my gun, and Harrow Cliptic.
Hi guys, Goon Cryptic. So yeah, they're saying assassination to remove tyrants is just not murder. He wrote, the tyrant he referred to was not Trump, of course, but the communists he imagined running the government. And I guess they're trying to compare that statement to what they're doing now. So they're taking a guy that was, you know, communism and everything else, and they're saying, okay, well, if you assassinated to remove a tyrant, it's not murder, and trying to apply that to Donald Trump, which, like, that's not a good thing. That's not good.
How about they're trying to revise history before it's written. You know the whole concept of how history is written in favor of the writer or in the favor of the victor. They're trying to revise and rewrite history before it's even written.
Yeah, they are. Such paranoid fantasies may be familiar to heavy consumers of YouTube and Reddit.
What's wrong with Reddit?
But watching them transposed onto the structures of government is a novelty. As a result, many leftists and even some liberals are beginning to reconsider their feelings about firearms, joining a loose amalgamation of gun groups from John Brown gun clubs, which take their name from the abolitionist, to the, here it is, Pink Pistols, an LGBTQ group, liberal gun club, and Socialist Rifle Association.
I am definitely sure that the Pink Pistols would be upset to be, once they find out they've been named in this, because the Pink Pistols are a self-defense organization.
They're being touted as basically something else. Some
Yeah, I know.
of the
Pink
organized
pistols have been around since the 90s.
Some of these organizations are moderate and traditionalist, others radical and revolutionary. And of course, you're not going to differentiate which ones are which, are you? But all share
No.
one implicit goal: to normalize firearms ownership and training among liberals.
It used to be normal.
Some of their members hope such efforts will at least make Republicans think twice before attempting a massacre. Wait, what? Republicans, these gun groups are going to stop Republicans from attempting a massacre?
By doing their own massacre, yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Are they really painting Republicans as people that are just going to go kill people now?
I think that's their flaw, though. Just like, so they can say
That's
it's being
definitely othering people. That's not good.
Like,
This is the logical conclusion.
They're beating war drums right now, aren't they? They're just getting the crowd going, saying Republicans are the enemy. We are fighting back now with guns because Republicans massacre. Like they're beating that war drum, aren't they?
They are.
Like,
they are, because especially when it comes to days where there are protests held around the country where a bunch of college students will walk onto college campus wearing empty holsters. There are, well, you remember a few years back, there was this big thing with Starbucks where Starbucks didn't have an official position on carrying or open carry weapons. So everybody who was in a state open carried into a Starbucks. And this is the logical conclusion of where the opposition is saying. The opposition is saying just because they have a gun means they want to use it.
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure most people who carry a gun don't want to use it because they have it for self-defense. I don't think they want to be attacked.
Or they want to use it to shoot animals or targets or, hunting and stuff.
Those targets deserved it.
Exactly.
Here's the beauty of this. But here's the beauty of the Second Amendment. It doesn't matter why you want it or need it. They're not allowed to say you can't, period. It doesn't. The moment motive begins to be questioned at all, you've just discounted the whole thing. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter why you want or need it. You're allowed. They're not allowed to say you cannot have it, period.
This article is really dangerous language. Like, seriously, it's just really, really dangerous shit. Whether the approach will inflame political violence, especially in hot spots like the Pacific Northwest, or deter it, remains uncertain. In April, Shea spoke at an open carry rally in Olympia, which drew hundreds of people, many armed with AR-15s. Of course, he had to name drop that there, right? And shotguns. About 10 members of the John Brown.
I really doubt. Did you just say they shot the rifles?
No, they said many went to see this place armed with AR-15s and shotguns. About 10 members of the John Brown Gun Club were also there, handing out flyers, mocking Shea and another speaker, Joey Gibson of Patriot Prayer, who they said attracted and embraced rapists, pedophiles, and skinheads. Want to defend your community from people like Matt Shea, one flyer asked at the moment, which was founded, the JBGC was founded 4 months after Trump took office, has around 30 active members. but its firearms safety and marksmanship workshop fill up faster every time the club hosts them. Full members undergo lengthy vetting, but anyone can come learn how guns work, what the parts are, and how to handle them safely.
Well, there's a
Before
fire.
They're
going to
giving
the-
safety
gas
classes.
still-
Oh my god.
Yeah,
They're teaching people how to be safe with a gun. Oh no. Seriously.
yeah. We're talking about white liberals, mostly women, who are like, let's get this class going. The club's founder, Duke Aaron, said 2 years ago, these people would be like, guns? This is terrible. That's not the reaction now.
So you know how easy it is to build a gun?
You know,
Yeah, you can literally
You
3D
can
print a
3D
gun.
print one.
No, I mean
Yeah.
legitimately. When the UK first banned guns, there was a guy that said "fuck you" and built his own gun.
Oh,
It's
He
not
got
hard.
shit in there.
It's really not hard, Thunder.
Yeah,
Yeah, this article just it worries me the way it's doing things.
yeah,
Trump,
basically just anti-fair on the way to becoming a part of the military now, aren't they?
yeah, Trump deserves most of the blame for this peculiar uptake in gun sales. In March,
You know, and
he told Brett
no.
Bart, I have the support of the police, the support of the military, the support of the bikers. For Trump, I have the tough people. It would be very bad if his followers decided to play it tough in those remarks. Some saw that Trumpian swagger or whatever. Adrian,
I'm not seeing. I'm not hearing anything about any Trump supporter banging drums, bringing drums, screaming "War, war, Johnny, get your guns." But the left wing is
yeah,
now
that's very concerning for me.
without
'Cause it's just-
assigning any kind of political motive to what they're doing. Just the fact that more people learning how a gun works, how to handle it safely, how to hold it, how to shoot it, how to clean it, how to store it. When it comes to that, as long as you don't sit there and try to assign any kind of political motive whatsoever, more power to you. Cool, come on, let's go.
I'm
Not
all
all-
for
It's
guns.
when you sit and try to assign the motives to it is the problem I'm having.
yeah. So not all threats these days come veiled. Former Trump advisor Roger Stone has used the Proud Boys, a group of neo-fascist men who describe themselves as Western
Who the
chauvinists,
hell? Who the
as
hell
his
wrote
own
this
private
article?
security force.
Hey, retard.
I would agree, a retard.
NewRepublic.com.
Oh God.
They
Yeah,
sound
okay.
stupid.
That explains everything, but okay.
Border militias have been conducting vigilante operations against suspected undocumented immigrants. One vigilante told BuzzFeed in April that his group was coordinating with border protection officials on an hourly basis. And former White House chief strategist Steve Bannon, who compared American politics in 2019 to the vitriolic to an Italian?
Also, by the way, Blind Girl, like Tom once on.
No.
Take it away, man. Yeah, it's your fault.
To vitriolic climate just before the Civil War lent him name to an Italian gladiation school for training culture warriors to defend Christianity in the West. Why does Tom want on? What do you want, Tom?
I don't know. You just DM'd me asking. I said you'd probably say no. But just
With his earlier shit on your channel, I don't fucking think so. Stories such as these have inspired a predictable response. The JBGC was founded after Aaron spotted hate graffiti in the park where his child plays. People have some real fear about what the future holds for them, and some real fear about what lurks down the street. Well, yeah, thanks to all your fucking fake news shit. Of course they are.
It's a fear porn. That's what it is.
Yeah,
they work themselves up into the ladder, and then it's just like, oh no, we've got to kill them now, and it's just like, whoa, hold on. The people that
by the way.
Yeah, people that have jobs, logic, they don't think about this a lot, and then a lot of people are just like, yeah, there's going to be civil war coming. I'm just like, can you please stop talking about this? You stop talking about it, maybe they'll just calm down. It's not working, you guys. It's not working. I feel like we should take the Patrick Star option of this, take all of the progressive leftists, and push them somewhere else.
Can we figure out a way to make what's its face? The retard coast, California. That's it. Into an island.
And
no. That's what you do.
California.
Take all the motherfucker leftist fucking snowflake warmongers, throw them into the Canadian North. Just do that. Just fucking throw them up there in the snow. Trust me. No, they'll have their own civilization, but they'll be too busy trying to survive the Great White North that they will just forget all about politics.
Racist? What's the color of its skin have to do with this?
So there is some talk of what would happen when Donald Trump or a more competent authoritarian successor bombs urban centers of resistance like Seattle. But for the most part, these community defense groups are less concerned with doomsday scenarios than they are with immediate threats against mosques, synagogues, abortion clinics, and the like. Wait, why is abortion clinics in with mosques and synagogues?
Why?
Are they seriously suggesting that Trump's going to bomb his own cities?
Yeah.
You know, I'm not seeing any difference between the conspiracy theory bullshit that this damn article's posting and some of that shit that Luke Radowski or whatever, the wearechange.org dude.
Oh, yeah,
I'm not seeing any kind of, I'm not seeing any difference between the conspiracy theory between the two. It just one's on the right, one's on the left. What the hell? I'm not seeing a difference.
Well, not only that, but like that sentence, mosques, the immediate threat to mosques, synagogues, abortion clinics, and the like. One, they labeled mosques and synagogues, but didn't bother to go after churches, which are getting burnt down a lot. And secondly, again, why is an abortion clinic under immediate threat the same way that a synagogue, a church, and a mosque is? Like, how many abortion clinics have been bombed lately or shot up? Like, seriously.
Not that I heard of. I don't
mention
hear
the fact
anything
that they think any president is going to bomb his own people.
Yeah, they think Trump or his next successor, because we don't vote people in, they're successors now.
Wait a second. Let me think.
Or should I say you guys
when is
don't...
the last president to actually drop a bomb on a U.S. citizen? Crappy, can
Obama.
you? Yeah.
Not unless you count mishaps in Florida that dropped bombs.
Pretty sure it's Obama, isn't it?
There were bombs in Florida?
I was actually talking about the U.S. citizens that Obama,
it was Obama.
Deliberately bombed.
Yeah. And the Continental, none. Because if we have militia protecting our border, go for it. Them guys down there need all the help they can get. Because I heard today that Homeland Security has asked for another 1,000 National Guard to help them with the border. Why not protect your own?
Because they're not concerned with their own people. They want votes.
So,
And where are the
Tucker,
votes
how
coming from?
mainstream?
You're protecting your own border.
How mainstream is this newspaper? New Republic. How mainstream is it?
I've never heard of them before.
Well, that's good because this article is really disgusting. Yep.
All garbage.
As far as I'm good, they sound like a left-wing Stormfront as far as I'm concerned.
Yep. So, guess what? There's more. Unsurprisingly, perhaps most of their current members are white and male. Many are veterans of the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan.
Hey, Thunder, you're a fucking white male.
A third of the Socialist
Not at the moment.
Rifle Association's 2,000 members identify as LGBTQ, and 8% are transgender. We've got liberal folks, politicians, and people in the media saying the government is becoming a fascist regime, and then turning around and saying, you can't have your guns. We can only have guns in the hands of people we're calling fascists, says Alex.
Who the fuck says that? You.
Right,
not your opponents.
And not all Republicans or Trump supporters are fucking fascists. God. Of course, for pragmatic as well as public relations purposes, most of these groups insist that they merely want to promote gun safety. The JBGC vigorously rejects the term militia, noting that its members are instead merely seeking social justice. Any police officer who wants to infiltrate us, best of luck. We're incredibly boring, and everything we do is completely legal.
Big fucking deal. You know, when it boils down to it, they're sitting there acting like their quote unquote opponents are sitting there saying, no, you're not allowed to have a gun. Fuck. Look on fucking YouTube. Look for how many goddamn videos are where they grab some damn lefty and say, hey, come to the range with us.
Yeah.
Fucking Colin Noir did one a couple weeks ago, and it was fucking awesome.
Bonenberger believes it would take at least 20 years to create a force to rival the conservative militias that boast tens of thousands of members. What?
Seriously.
The conservative militia?
Everyone's saying up a militia, not then.
This is.
I feel like I've just lost several brain cells listening to this.
By comparison, Antifa has a combined membership in the low thousands, and even fewer people belong to armed leftist groups. They have been responsible for only a handful of attacks in recent years.
Hold on, blind girl. You just missed something. You just completely missed something. What did that article just admit? That Antifa is an organization.
Yep. I was actually about to say, but I thought you weren't a group. And then they have been responsible for, quote, only a handful of attacks in recent years. Because only a handful of attacks isn't as bad as anybody else. Because it's only a handful, you know? Like, it's not that big of a deal. In April, the FBI announced it had thwarted a plot by a veteran who had been planning to target white nationalists in Los Angeles, but the bomb was fake. It had been supplied by FBI agents. They had that in brackets. I don't get why. Polls show conservatives remain twice as liberals, to own guns, and that won't change anytime soon.
If that's the quote unquote plan I heard about, it was a fucking 17-year-old kid.
Even if it did, wait a minute. Did they just say conservatives are twice as likely to own guns than liberals? Because I'm pretty sure you have way more guns than I do, Trucker.
I'm not a conservative.
Exactly. You're a liberal, but they're claiming that conservatives have more guns than liberals.
I'm not a liberal either. I'm a libertarian.
Well, you know what? For argument's sake, just saying. Even if it did,
for argument's sake, I sit smack dab in the middle of them.
Yeah, fair enough.
So
even if it did,
if a lot of libertarians would refuse to allow to be put on that spectrum, but a good part of us, if we were to go on the spectrum of being purely left and right, we are smack dab in the middle. Because there are some stuff we go way the fuck to the right on. There's some stuff we go way the fuck to the left on.
The whole left and the right thing is bullshit anyway.
It's all
It is.
as is considered by everyone on the left. You're pretty much far right anyway. So
I'm a Nazi.
Yay.
Please donate to the Nazi. I need money for some swastikas and shit.
It's okay. We'll save up so you can get what is it called? An easy bake oven. It's easy because it's cheaper.
Wow, that was fucking dark, but I love it.
Cook a cupcake with a light bulb.
So even if it did, it wouldn't alter the underlying problems. The climate of vigilante violence on the right has elevated racist attacks, hate crimes, and terrorism in our political culture. What? What?
God, all this talk of vigilantism. Where the fuck's Batman when we need him?
I know. Like when are we? Are conservatives and Republicans? Because
I see a hairy old man's arm.
Cool. Yeah. Like, what vigilante stuff? They haven't named any. Even veterans of leftist armies caution against forming one in America. If people want to prepare for revolution, they should become labor organizers, said Brace Belden, a former volunteer with a Kurdish communist militia turned factory organization back home in San Francisco. That doesn't sound good.
Say you want a revolution, well, you know, we all want to change the world.
Matriculating anyone from a gladiator school in the service of any agenda may be the sort of stress test our democracy wasn't engineered to withstand. Gladiator school? What are you guys? Are these guys playing D&D in the newspaper again?
Maybe.
No,
that's the end of the article. The end of the article is saying that politics is not ready for people graduating from gladiator school. Like, as if Antifa are some great people that are going against the vigilante conservatives. Because, guys, the conservatives are coming to get you, and we're going to bomb fucking abortion clinics, and we're just going to take over the world.
You know, the worst part is when it comes to most of the gun owners I know, which is quite a few. I think out of all of them, I'm the one who goes out shooting the most. I've gone shooting 3 times in the last 6 months.
Oh, nice.
All right, let's see what chat has to say about this. Wonderful, wonderful stuff.
Not much.
Snippet?
Not much. Right now, they're talking about naming a drink after Tom.
Yeah, he's echoing. Echo.
Let's see. We need to name a drink after Tom. Hair of a cunt. I agree. Let's see what else is going on down here. Peter Almond, that goon.
The dog that bit me. Living high in the hall last night.
Forget half of the cunt. Tom is man cunt hair. Interesting. Yeah, I thought that article was just fucking hair-raisingly ridiculous.
Ooh, I do have a question. Do you want to read something funny that I'm not going to get around to reading?
Not really.
No,
We're
because you're
scared
gonna
of the
kill
shit
the
you
mood
come up with.
screen.
It's a news. It's technically a news article.
No.
Uh,
Some of the stuff you come up
Uh,
with, dude. Wow.
it's not my fault. It's on the internet. I just find it. So someone snuck up to a dude with gauges in his ear and padlocked it.
Been there, done that.
Yeah. So that was quite like how many more news articles before like we're just gonna hear about Antifa shooting people?
I'll give it like a week.
We're not going to hear about it.
Yeah,
If we
Yeah,
hear about it,
heard about it.
it'll be like that will be portrayed as heroes.
I just
So something that's interesting that's been happening today, good for a laugh for you, is I've noticed two major themes. There's been a lot of people sitting there making damn sure to know that Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein have had dealings and relationships in the past, while simultaneously saying, "Oh no, he and Bill Clinton were just acquaintances."
yeah, and I forget the other part of that. Matt Walsh was talking about it, where Trump said, you know, he's a nice guy, but he likes them young. That's a quote from 2002. It was, you know, he's a nice guy, you know, whatever, but he likes women, he likes them young. And so they're saying like that's a bad quote to have in the hands of anybody, which is true. However, what they failed to know. Well, what they failed to then remember is, I can't remember the year that he said it was, but Trump had him kicked out of one of his casinos or resorts for sexually harassing or nearly sexually assaulting one of the women serving him. Trump threw him out.
Yeah, and the thing is, just to say he likes them young, he just likes women that are younger than him. That's all it really implies.
Yeah, and that's all they're using.
Yeah, it doesn't say. It doesn't necessarily say, "Oh, he likes little girls." How the hell, you know? One can sit and say, "Oh, I like them young because my wife is a hell of a lot younger than me."
People could say, "I like them young because I've got a Scotty and he's not old."
You saying that
He's
you are old?
not even. Sorry, but he's not even done growing yet.
True.
He's still got about 8 years on that one. Sorry, Scotty. I mean, men don't actually don't fully finish physically growing until they're 28.
I'm in the same size as I was like 17, so.
But anyway.
Yeah, but you can still. But there's the thing: you're still in that window for drastic physical change for the next 10 years, dude.
But the thing that they leave out is that Clinton toured like 4 or 5 different countries. With
4 or 5 different countries.
And like what Matt Walsh was saying is, look, dude, there's a lot of people that have associated with this guy, but Bill Clinton is the first one to come out and say, dude, I didn't know anything. He's like, if you're the first one that actually feels they have to, you know, say, dude, I didn't know anything was going on. He's like, that doesn't look good.
Oh God, who was that? John Ward. It was either John Ward or No Bullshit this morning. Put out a video pretty much pointing out that the way Bill Clinton handled the Shep Epstein thing is exactly how he handled the whole Monica Lewinsky thing, where he's sitting there parsing words. And if you sit there and say, well,
sexual relations with that woman, I can't do Bill Clinton. Yeah.
I did not have sexual relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky.
Be right back.
What the fuck are you talking about? I won't read what, Tom? I read everything. I just don't say everything that I read.
But the thing is,
He said Kirby.
The thing is, Thunder, it's when he even admitted that he did sleep with that he even did sleep with Monica Lewinsky. He did it in such a way to where he was sitting there explaining how he, even at that case, he didn't lie, because he was sitting there saying, I did not have sexual relationships with her, while in the back of his head, he doesn't consider blowjob sex. So, I mean, he's famous for parsing words and making secondary definitions and secondary excuses for everything.
Yeah, well, he's a fucking dickhead.
He is.
Like, I feel gross knowing that I shook his hand when I was a teenager.
Bill Clinton?
Just saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
My dad was with this band that was helping with juvenile delinquents and like rehabilitating them and stuff, and like youth services and stuff. And so they went down to the States to this conference or whatever, and it was like a luncheon that Bill Clinton was hosting for people, and we were there, and we all got to shake his hand and say hi. And my dad let him touch my hands, and he shouldn't have, because he probably knew what kind of a scumbag he was. And yeah.
And how many of these people would Bill Clinton have rather just put in jail?
Yeah.
Just saying.
Probably. So it was one of those things where, I feel like just like, at the time I thought it was cool, but I got to meet Bill Clinton now, not so much. So, what, are you bored, Scotty? Are you bored?
Sorry, that was me.
That was Thunder.
It's close to bedtime. I'm sorry.
Oh, that was you. Okay. I thought it was Scotty, but then I realized that he was muted. Sorry, Scotty. I mean, it could have been you. It's probably something you would do.
What?
Holy crap, Thunder! I'm that much older than you. I'm usually in bed within 20 minutes, and I'm so good. Okay, never mind.
You're not allowed to yard. You're behind, and that's probably my fault. Sorry.
Yeah. So, oh, and did everybody hear that Tim Pool has been invited to Trump's social media summit at the White House?
He's a co-founder of Vice.
Yeah, I heard that too. But like, he's just like what's his face? Gavin McInnes.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget also Ben Shapiro's wife is a doctor.
And she's really hot too,
I can't say I've ever seen her.
I don't know what she looks like.
I got a feeling she's probably taller than him. Hell, you're probably taller than him.
Oh, so Facebook, Google, Apple, and Amazon are going to testify at a congressional antitrust hearing next week. I wonder how that's going to go. I mean, they kind of have like a social media monopoly, but the government controlling anything is always a bad thing. So either way, I think we're just in for a big fat of shit burger.
Well, honestly, I hate to say it, but when it comes to the Section 230 protections that all these the social media sites keep hiding behind, I think the government needs, for the most part, the government just needs to say, listen, you're a platform, or you're either a platform and you can't sit there and, either you're a platform, you can't sit there and hide behind your platform and you don't censor when you're obviously censoring, or you're a publisher and take responsibility for what is being said.
Yeah. Hi, Chloe. Meow.
They're trying to do it both ways, But to make it better, actually, something that happened today, as far as that, Trump had appealed the decision from when he was blocking people on Twitter.
Yeah, and they shot him down.
Right, they shot him down. But here's the thing: as long as they, it actually gives people in New York, New Jersey, Alexandria Cortez's districts. It gives. She's actually quite rampant with blocking people as well.
Yeah.
So if there's people in her district that she has blocked, they can now sue her.
Yep.
Because they just set one hell of a precedent on this.
Yeah, and actually, interestingly enough, appeals court is also taking up the constitutionality of Obamacare. I thought they already ruled it unconstitutional.
The individual mandate was, but the problem is the individual mandate. John Roberts?
Hello,
had
Ryan,
ruled
and welcome back, Mr. Misanthropic.
Hey, my name's Ryan.
Justice Roberts had ruled that the individual mandate or the tax that they were charged and that they were imposing on people was not a tax, and that's what allowed the individual mandate to be considered constitutional. They, Obama, the whole time where Obama was saying it's not a tax, it's a fee. They said, well, if it's a fee, it's a punishment, therefore it's a fine, therefore it's unconstitutional, and gave them the chance to say, oh, no, it's a tax, which actually that in and of itself, it makes it legal as opposed to a fine, or makes it legal as far as the sense of it's not a fine, it's a tax. But then again, it opens up a whole new problem considering Congress actually wrote this and passed this as Obama had it written, which means he's the one who introduced the legislation to begin with, which he never actually had the ability to do, or he never had the authority to do. It would have had to have originate in Congress. So that's a whole other angle and argument to be brought up that nobody ever explored.
What do you think is going to happen in appeals court for the constitutionality? Like, what do you think they're going to
do? I wish I knew. I really wish I knew.
Yeah.
All I know is this ain't going to be pretty.
The fate of Obamacare will be argued before a panel of judges in a federal appeals court in New Orleans Thursday. Arguments are the latest in a lawsuit filed by Republican officials in 18 states. A 3-judge panel of the 5th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in New Orleans will take up a ruling by a federal judge in Texas last year that the entire ACA was unconstitutional.
Well, to be blunt and honest, you got a better chance with being 5th Circuit as opposed to 9th.
Well, interesting enough. Oh, and back to the Jeffrey Epstein thing for 1 sec. Apparently, they also found a tape that was in a safe that apparently has like young woman and then a name beside it, but they blurred it out. And so they're wondering if it's a blackmail tape.
Oh, it's a lot more than one tape.
But yeah. So I am so interested in seeing who's going to get right over the coals.
That would be interesting to find out who.
Right? Like, are you not anxious to go, okay, who is it? Who's he got the dirt on, and what is the dirt? Come on, please say it's hookers peeing on someone's bed or something. I'm just kidding.
Is it good dirt?
If that picture actually ended up on the news, you know that damn group in 4chan's on it right now to try to unblur it.
Yeah.
Weaponized autism right there. My favorite way to describe 4chan.
Okay, you're gonna love this. Hey, Thunder,
Yeah.
can you do me a favor? Do me a favor, please, sir.
What do you need?
Mute me. I'll explain in a second, but mute me, please.
What's the way to do?
I have no idea. But we only got 15 minutes left, so I'm going to just squeeze in this title here. Attorney General Barr says he will not recuse from the new Epstein case. Which, that would be cool. I kind of like Barr. He's kind of a cool guy. So despite an earlier statement and conflicting headlines, Barr is not recusing himself from the current Epstein case after consulting career ethics officials at DOJ. He is, however, recusing himself from details of the previous Florida case where a plea agreement had taken place.
And a back.
Welcome back. Did you get all that?
No, I missed all of it. My Bluetooth was dying, so I had to plug it up. And unfortunately, while I'm plugging it, well, that 30 seconds, I heard nothing.
Okay, well, Attorney General Barr says he will not recuse himself from the new Epstein case, but he will recuse himself from the previous Florida case where a plea agreement had taken place already about stuff. So, yeah.
Because he was directly involved with that.
Yeah.
That's fine. That's fine. If if he was involved with the first one, therefore he cannot, he has to recuse himself and not get involved in it because it's already settled. But the new one, as long as he's not directly involved in it, as far as being the one doing all the investigation, should be fine.
Yeah. So, I think William Barr has a lot of spunk. I kind of like him.
Yeah.
He's a cool dude. He's just a cool dude. So, yeah. Oh, and apparently, what was it? Beto O'Rourke did a rally or something for his presidential running, whatever. He did a rally in Mexico.
Why?
That's what I want to know.
Pandering.
Yeah,
Straight
but why?
pandering.
Oh, because Mexicans aren't supposed to be able to vote.
They will once
Yeah,
they get
funny how that
across the
works.
border and pick up a name and a social security number.
Yeah, but while they're still in Mexico, though.
Yep. Trying to drum up votes.
Yeah, it's just weird that he's, doing a presidential rally. He's like, you know what? I'm going to do something different. I'm going to go out of the country. I'm going to do it in Mexico. Because, my Spanish was just so good on television. I had to try it again in Mexico. Actually, he didn't say that, but I just assumed that's what he was going to say about it.
So they don't like foreign interference, but they want foreigners to vote for them.
Well, okay, here's for the most part what's going on. Right now, we're still in primary time, and as far as Trump goes, he's the incumbent, so he's not really going to be challenged very well. Yes, there's that one guy running against him, but ain't nobody even going to take him seriously. Well, as it stands right now, everybody that's on the Democrat side, the left side, they're trying. You've got all the moderates that are still going to vote Democrat no matter what. It's like Nancy Pelosi said, you could slap a D on a glass of water and they'll vote for the Democrat no matter what, just because they always have, right? Take like my grandfather. He was guaranteed to vote for Democrat. My father was guaranteed to vote Republican. That's just the way it goes. nothing could ever really change their minds. So right now, it's not about attracting them. It's about attracting the people who aren't going to bother voting. It's going to be, they're literally running out and telling everybody exactly what they want to hear to get them to vote for them, which is going to be the biggest. It's going to be the biggest harebrained crap you can come up with. And as soon as the primaries are over as soon as the primaries are over and the actual candidate to run against Trump is chosen, all this noise you're hearing right now is going to go away.
And this last article, just to piss everyone off before we go, comes from the Math Queen. We touched on most of the ones she sent me that I just realized she sent me. This one pissed me off the most. Toddler dies after being dangled from a window by grandfather.
Michael Jackson still alive?
Blanket, no, not again.
A toddler apparently slipped from her grandfather's hands and fell to her death from a cruise ship docked in Puerto Rico. Police said that the grandfather of the 1-year-old girl from Indiana told officers he lost his grip while holding her outside a window on the 11th story of the Freedom of the Seas. The man was identified as Salvatore Anello. And the investigation is ongoing. I hope they throw him into a wood chipper.
Keel haul him.
Yeah, give him a fucking Jewish.
This was done on a cruise ship. Make his ass walk the plank.
They are saying now that he had set the child on a ledge where the child could look out the window, not knowing that the window was ajar. And the child pushed the window open and fell over. That was the latest tonight on the news.
Ah, son of a... Really?
Always wait to get all the facts before you say what you want to do to it. Everybody likes to jump to conclusions without all the facts.
Even on that sense, my viewpoint doesn't really change.
Neither do mine.
Any kind of risky position like that, keep your arm around that child to where that child could not have fallen.
Yep.
See, the child was used to watching her older brother play hockey, and she would always lean on the glass. So.
Yeah, they should have keeping up there watchful eye over the kids.
The grandfather was right there, they're saying, but
he slipped out the window. So the grandfather's right there. He lost his grip and she fell through a window. Like, no. Like, you don't do that. You put your arm in front of them or you just don't do it. Like, that kind of risky behavior, just don't, no.
Like I said, let's wait till the investigation is over, then make a determination. Don't come to a conclusion so quick.
I don't know, man. Even if it was an accident like that, again, that is just, you don't do that. you don't.
A lot
like
of things in this world you don't do, but you do them anyway, don't you?
Yeah, well, in this case, a 1-year-old's dead, so G to gas.
No.
Shit happens every day to good people. It's unintentional.
Might not be intentional, but you got to use your head when you've got a 1-year-old.
Sometimes, yes. When you're not used to when you're not used to being around a 1-year-old all the time, you're not used to it.
Yeah, but he's a grandfather. That means he's had children of his own.
Yeah, I'm a grandfather too, and my youngest one is 13. I haven't had a 1-year-old in 13 years.
Yeah,
so
but
you think I'm used to having a 1-year-old around the house all the time?
Because you're not used to it, that would give you a reason to be irresponsible like that.
To be fair on that, on Crappy's side, when my son was 1 month old, he and his wife came to the house to meet my son, and Crappy would barely touch my son to the point where they're going, "Oh, you're not going to break him. You're not going to break him." So, to be fair, Crappy is right on that.
Yeah, but I don't like irresponsible people and dead of kids. I don't.
I think GT guys
You
is a bit
say
far.
it's irresponsible. It's not irresponsible if you're not used to having them around.
Yeah, but
I
there's a
think GT guys is a
difference.
bit far, but he should have been more like he should have had a more watchful eye over the kid.
Well,
Right,
no,
that
but
I agree
you
with.
not use the
But
kids and then stick a kid on a ledge where they can lean forward near an ajar window, and you don't have a good grip on them. Big difference.
See, I'm very torn on this. I am Blind Girl. I'm on your side. The guy is very neglectful in that sense. It's very neglectful, very irresponsible, but it's true. He hasn't had the experience.
Okay,
So
maybe not.
flat out
Well,
kill.
then,
Flat
let's
out.
just hang him up by his toes. Don't kill him, but hang him up by his toes for a little while.
let's wait and get
I
the
mean-
facts of the investigation before any determination. Would you
Imagine-
want me to
imagine-
assume you're guilty of something without all the facts?
Actually, Blind Girl, ask yourself this, okay? What do you think? Who's the blood? Does it say who the blood was? Her son or daughter?
It doesn't say.
I don't really think that matters, though, does it?
It was a girl.
So whichever. The girl was his daughter.
I think so.
Imagine what she's gonna do to him.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like I said-
imagine what he's going to do to himself.
Just string him up by his toes for a little while. That's all.
Let's
About
get
that.
the evidence before we do anything.
No, I prefer just stringing up toes.
I know. So if you go out and let's say you get a ticket for jaywalking, even though you're blind, we're going to find you guilty of jaywalking, even though you couldn't see that there was no crosswalk there. But we're going to hang you up by your toes, not having all the facts.
Well, I don't actually
No,
have
no, no,
the
no,
power.
no, no.
I don't. No. I don't have the power to actually do anything to this guy, but I do have a freedom of opinion, and I'm going to exercise that now.
And I'm exercising mine.
Exactly, and that's why we're arguing.
Get your facts
All right.
before a determination.
I don't feel like it.
All right.
Oh,
To
it's time to
be fair. So, all right, Blind Girl.
Mhm.
So anybody who can't take 100% care of a child hung up by the toes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't Jack run off from you a couple weeks ago?
For like
Bingo.
For like 2 seconds.
Shot yourself in the foot on that one, didn't you?
Not really.
Just-
'cause
it-
there's
yeah.
a big difference between I didn't know he was 10
No,
feet away from me on a play
Doesn't
structure
matter.
and him playing in the middle of the road.
Doesn't matter. You wouldn't have known because he was gone.
Well, I kind of did know because I found him very quickly without having any assistance nor needing to call the cops or anything.
Yes, you did get assistance because the little girl told you he was over there. You said that yourself.
The little girl's mom said he went that way.
Well, that's assistance.
Oh, for God's sakes. Yeah,
You said
but again, like that would be like I never said if you can't completely 100% take care of it, string up about the toes. I'm saying don't do irresponsible shit like put your kids by a windowsill where they can fall out of it at 11 stories high if you don't have a good grip on them.
It was unexpected, just like Jack running off was unexpected.
It was
Yeah, it was-
unexpected, but the setup to that happening was him lifting the kid onto the ledge. So
I mean, mistakes
that
happen
condition
all the
meant-
time, especially with kids. I mean, how many kids drown in a pool because the mom just looked away for like a second and
Right.
the kid, fell into the pool and drowned? Or even what was it, that sudden death infant syndrome, where they kind of they tucked the kid in and not realizing the kid kind of suffocated on their blanket or their stuffed animal, and they come back in the morning and the kid's dead. So
Yeah, but that wasn't
Or
set up.
or a
Yeah.
grandparent backing over one in a driveway.
Oh,
Yeah.
Jesus Christ. That is not. No. If a grandparent accidentally backs over one in the driveway, fuck that shit.
You know what's
Yeah.
really funny? I actually saw an old lady back over another old lady in a parking lot. Like, I physically saw it. I just kept driving. I didn't want to see the end of it, but I was just like, oh, geez. And the other one was like, stop, stop. And the one in the car was like, what? Where are you? But she's still backing up. I'm just like, oh, geez. There was already like two people coming around trying to stop her from backing up. I was just there like, I'm not going to help. But
Yeah,
grandmother.
the difference between, say, your kid walks away from a grocery store in the aisle and you lose them for a few minutes, and a kid falling out a window because you put them up on a ledge, is you made the choice to do those preset conditions for something like that to happen.
Well, it's like the grandparent backing over the child. The child run behind the vehicle. They didn't have backup cameras at the time on the vehicles.
Well, then I would blame the parents for that, not the grandparent driving. I'd be like, why the fuck were you watching your kid in the driveway? What the fuck wrong with you?
Kids do.
Mistakes happen, and kids do crazy things, you know?
That's
Like,
it.
my grandmother left me and my sister alone with scissors, and she was like, oh, these girls are old enough not to play with scissors. I ended up convincing my sister to cut her hair very short. She ended up almost, shaving her head off. Because I was like, yeah, let's play barber, but you should go first. And my sister's like, okay. My grandmother was so pissed off with me. I also almost, stabbed myself in the leg with a pair of scissors because me and my sister were alone together with a pair. We shouldn't have been left alone together with a pair of scissors, but it happens. That's life. Life things happen, you know.
Oh shit! It's 9:02 and it's chilling time. However, AOC apparently is getting sued, but I don't know what for.
Oh, for blocking people, maybe.
Good.
That's hilarious.
It is. It's funny.
All right, but it's chilling time because it's 9:02.
Well, no.
All right, Green. Or sure, Scotty, go first. Scotty.
Stream 10 p.m. GMT, 5 p.m. EST, watching 12 and stuff.
Green.
Still working on getting. Well, I have a stream tomorrow. Give me a second to get a hold of the link.
All right, Math Queen.
Yay! I go to a real life church and we do live streams on Sundays at 11. And also, if I could do the verse of the day real quick.
Sure, why not?
Hey, okay, so Hebrews 12:11. No discipline seems pleasant at the time, but painful. Later on, however, it produces a harvest of righteousness and peace for those who have been trained by it.
Sweet. All right, take it away, Trucker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am the Pumpkin Trucker, almost daily dash cam. No dash cam tomorrow because I am off work, but I will have a new dash cam starting again about 8 a.m. Thursday morning, going to the usual place, Springfield, Pennsylvania. But in the meantime, 5 p.m., 10 p.m. GMT, over at Opinionated Scotsman channel. Come on over for another episode of Failing Ed Read the News. Then at 7 p.m. midnight GMT, come on back over here for another episode of Blind Trucking, starring Blind Girl, Opinionated Scotsman, Green Thunder, myself, and special guests. It depends on who shows up. It could be Matt Queen. It could be Mr. Metrotropic. Who the hell knows who's going to show up? Won't know until then. But until then, come on back over here tomorrow. Check it out. You might actually get to hear Green Thunder say.
It wasn't my fault. Pickles were in the barrel before I got there.
Thanks for
coming out, everybody. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Don't get sauce on your dick.